Right, joining me now to discuss the fate of domestic workers in the hands of their employers is Linda Ogbonnaya, founder and CEO of online hiring platform coralworker.com. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, this development with 15 or so domestic workers of former First Lady Patience Jonathan does raise issues around the fate of domestic workers generally in Nigeria. Let's paint a picture for us, against this backdrop, how the domestic worker in Nigeria is treated generally.
Workers apply to jobs because they need to work, of course, like every other Nigerian.
Absolutely.
You expect that when you get a job, you are entitled to all the protections that every other worker in Nigeria should enjoy. But what is actually applicable to domestic workers, or what happens in places where domestic workers work and what it should be, are not actually the same thing.
Right.
Workers go to work with employers, and after working with them for a while, you find out when the worker wants to resign, some of these employers will find something to implicate the worker. Yes, implicate the worker. Sometimes these are scenarios whereby the worker does not actually understand their rights. Most employers, it's an imbalance of power and knowledge.
Right.
Yes. The worker is basically working sometimes just for her to be able to eat, sustain herself and sustain her family. The employer knows what is obtainable, but keeps pressing and pressing and pressing down and taking away, chipping away at the rights of workers one way or the other. That's just it.
At the point when they're engaged, especially maybe those that, coralworker.com facilitate their employment, are their rights really clearly spelled out to them?
Yes.
What exactly are these rights?
We try to carry out a lot of sensitization and training for workers so that you can understand that if you work with somebody, these are your rights. You have a right to be paid your salary as at when due.
Right.
You have a right to go on your off if you're a living staff. You have a right to rest. You have a right to a decent place to lay your head if you're a living staff. If you're a leave-out staff, you have a right to go to work at a respectable hour and to close and go home. You have a right to rest on certain days of the week. If you're a living staff, you have a right to work from morning till a certain hour in the night, in the evening. And even though you're a living staff, you should close and go take your rest.
Right.
But the situation is not the same. It's not that. Most workers wake up in the morning as early as 5 a.m. Some even wake up before then, which is not a problem. And they go to sleep probably around 12, 1, sometimes even 2. And they need to wake up the next morning around 4 a.m. and then repeat the cycle.
Right.
Now, a lot of our prominent politicians and elites in Nigeria, of course, we hire these workers to help us run our homes. But they are not machines. If you hire a worker, let the worker enjoy the same privileges that other workers in other industries enjoy. You don't run someone like a donkey.
Yeah, beyond appealing to common sense and to, the good side of the would-be employer.
The good side.
Are there legal, instruments? Is there some kind of legal recourse that you can actually, put in place, or that's even in place to protect, domestic workers?
Particularly domestic workers. Yeah, there should be things that are put in place, but what you should be asking about is what is the level of the implementation when it comes up. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, a domestic worker complains of somebody either assaulting them physically, or somebody trying to harass them somehow. If they go to a police station, the standard is this person is bigger than you. Just go and settle. This is 80% of the time what happens. So the same law enforcement tells these workers to go home
and settle.
So nothing is actually being done. None of these issues see the light of the day. They also understand that they have to take their own fate in their hands.
Yeah,
it's either you forget it.
More and more these days, agents do, provide, they provide this domestic workers. How do agents come in to help, this domestic staff when there are issues, especially maybe false allegation or theft?
You can
and
decide
like
to take it up depending on the context of your contract, on what you're running. Like what we run on our platform is like a freelance service for workers.
Freelance?
Yes, as in they are full workers on themselves. We don't, they are not workers under our company. They are the direct employees of their employers.
So the employers take full responsibility?
Yes, their employers take full responsibility. But in situations like that, if an employer is somebody who is abusive, somebody who assaults workers in one way or the other, just take the person up or cut the person off.
Now, I mean, that's on the part of the employer. What about this domestic staff themselves? Are there, strong background checks to ensure that they don't have, any negative tendencies?
Of course.
Stealing.
Of course.
And all of that.
You can run checks, yes.
Yeah.
See, domestic worker commits a crime.
What kind of checks do you run? And
okay, we run all kinds of checks. You run background checks, you run guarantors checks, you run police checks, you run all kinds of checks. But this would only mitigate this if the person is a criminally minded person, it will only mitigate it to some certain level. Let's say,
so it's not 100%.
No, it can't be 100%. If not, it can't be 100% because if you work in a bank, like I used to work in a bank, if you work in a bank and you go through the onboarding process, do you understand? You'll see how rigorous it is for a bank to screen somebody, put you through the processes, and then employ you. If they know that that person is going to end up stealing, I don't think they will end up employing that person. So it's not 100%.
So for both sides, I mean, because this cuts both ways.
Yes.
How does the employer, protect themselves? How does this employee, the domestic staff, how are they protected in a way that is mutually beneficial?
Run full documentation on your workers.
Right.
Run full documentation. Families, guarantors, police checks, medicals, everything, just like we do on our platform. Run full documentation. We've been running this for how many years? I don't think we've seen more than 2 or 3 cases of this, and they were taken care of adequately. If when you start having that
taken care of, in what way?
Oh, you get prosecuted, or if except the employer decides to let go. Do you understand? Yeah. The thing is, if you decide to wake up and what you want to do is to go commit a crime or to go steal, or it's not as if these things don't happen both ways. Yes, but the thing is, let's say for example, an employer wakes up this morning and says, "Oh, I'm looking for
my $5,000.
Thank you, all my jewelries. I'm looking for my $10,000." The first thing you should do is report this and follow the rule of law. Don't pack the 20 or 25 domestic workers you have in your house and go lock them up. That's abusing their rights. You are accusing them. It's not been proven. Nothing has been done. But the standard in Nigeria is most people just pack everybody that they have. And
until they confess. Hopefully. Yes. All right, we'll have to leave it there. Linda Ogbonnaya is founder, CEO, coralworkers.com. We do hope that the situation with the 15 domestic workers of former First Lady will be resolved quickly. I mean, they've been in detention for about 6 years now.
Yes.
We'll have to say thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.